I respect my students, and I encourage you all to have your own opinions. But I can't help thinking that you're trying to get a rise out of me.
And why would I want to do that?
Perhaps to get attention?
Or perhaps I'm intrigued.
Intrigued by what?
By you.
That was the best thing I've ever seen.
I'd like to report a crime.
What happens when a rebellious 17-year-old with mommy issues meets a soft-spoken, sexually repressed 32-year-old with auntie issues? A crime. Although in fewer states than you might think. Inspired by 1931's Machin in Uniform, 2006's Loving Annabelle was my favorite movie at that time. I mean, I was utterly obsessed with Annabelle and Simone. This movie even had me side-eyeing all my lady professors, you know, just in case. The point is, 21-year-old me thought Loving Annabelle was the greatest film I had ever seen. It was a waterfall in the desert that was women loving women content. And because at that time I identified more with Annabelle, I saw nothing wrong with it. But now that I'm older than Simone, I thought I'd revisit Loving Annabelle to find out if my love for this film has withstood We start with our main character Annabelle being chauffeured against her will to an all-girls Catholic boarding school. It seems that Annabelle has gotten into some vague troubles. Upon arrival, Annabelle is greeted by Kat, the bad girl, Collins, the sad girl, and Kristen, the underachieving overachiever.
What?
She's then given a tour by Miss Bradley, aka Simone, who immediately passes the cool teacher vibe check by warning Annabelle that her nose ring and Buddhist prayer beads might not go down so well with the school's HBIC Mother Immaculata. And to really hammer home the fact that Simone isn't like other teachers, she totally lets Collins keep a wild porcupine in their room.
I'm cool.
And of course, Miss Bradley teaches the sexiest subject of all subjects. So at this point, Annabelle hasn't quite clocked Simone just yet, but she does make an inappropriate comment in class, seemingly to let Simone know that
I've had sex.
After class, Annabelle low-key hits on Miss Bradley.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
It's also worth noting Simone has a long-term boyfriend who seems like a nice enough guy, but
he's not a woman.
That evening, the girls sneak into the basement to play Never Have I Ever, and Annabelle lets everyone know
I like pussy.
Oh! Okay.
Miss Bradley catches them and the girls scatter. Well, except for Annabelle.
How you doing?
Simone once again warns her about the nose ring and Buddhist prayer beads. And while Annabelle concedes the nose ring, she refuses to remove her prayer beads. So Mother Immaculata makes Annabelle wear a heavy-ass rosary for every day that she refuses to take off the beads. But later on, Simone and Annabelle have a little heart-to-heart, and Annabelle confides the real reason she won't take the beads off. The first person she ever loved gave them to her. Aww. Now, in my opinion, this scene really sets into motion the fuckery that is to follow, because Simone, who at this point is well aware of Annabelle's romantical feelings for her, touches Annabelle's arm.
Why would you do that?
Then gives Annabelle a book of with an artsy-fartsy written inscription inside. The thing is, you can't do that kind of stuff to a teenager who's in love with you.
Logic, let's use it.
We also learn Simone has a former lady lover named Amanda. Anywho, after this, there is a notable change in Annabelle, and she even gets rid of her prayer beads because
I'm in love.
Around this time, we learn that Mother Immaculata isn't just the school's HBIC, she's also Simone's aunt, which makes a later scene between the two of them a little uncomfortable.
Incest.
What?
Some undisclosed amount of time later, Simone is in the library working on her photography, because even Simone's hobbies are sexy. Anywho, she has a bunch of pictures of her with her ex-girlfriend just spread out on the table for anyone to see.
How you doing?
And this is when we, along with Annabelle, learn that Amanda passed away.
I have a chance.
After that, several random things happen over an undisclosed period of time, like the illegally kept porcupine dies, Kat clocks Annabelle's crush on Simone, Simone has unenjoyable sex with her boyfriend, Mother Immaculata seemingly hits on Simone, who, need I remind you, is her niece.
Ew.
And finally, Kat kisses Annabelle, who rejects her because she's not Simone. At this point, Annabelle is fully and openly courting Simone. I mean, she even sends her a bouquet of flowers to class.
It's called Riz.
And that evening, Annabelle invites herself into Simone's room.
You in danger, girl.
And goes in for a kiss, which Simone barely swerves. And I mean barely.
Barely.
Simone then has a fantasy about Annabelle f***ing her in the chapel.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there.
It is now spring break and most of the girls are gone, except of course for Annabelle. Now you would think, given Simone's most recent fantasy, that she would steer well clear of Annabelle.
I make very bad decisions.
Our girl Simone pulls an Uno reverse card and takes Annabelle to her house on the beach.
She's going to jail.
And it's there we find out Simone's ex Amanda took her own life, and Simone has never fully grieved the loss. So on one hand, it's nice that Annabelle can help her grieve, but also
Inappropriate.
and although nothing sexual happens between them at the beach house, some lines were definitely crossed. The next day, Simone knows she up and starts avoiding Annabelle like the plague. Also, Simone's boyfriend dumps her.
Well, good for him.
Annabelle eventually confronts Simone, but our girl Simone finally puts her foot down and tells Annabelle,
Not today, Satan.
Anywho, Annabelle gets into a fist fight with Kat because Kat's a bitch, and then it's time for the big dance.
What?
Annabelle performs a song she wrote about Simone because all bad girls know how to play guitar and write tortured folk music.
It's true.
Also, it works. And look, not to excuse the problematic elements of this movie, but that sex scene
It's magnificent.
The next morning, Annabelle and Simone get caught because Kat snitched on them, because Kat's a bitch. But also, you know. Simone then gets hauled away by the police, and that's the end of the movie. Well, that's the first ending anyway, because the DVD blessed us with a more detailed ending. Basically, in the alternate ending, Simone does not go to jail, and she and Annabelle live happily ever after. And look, I'd be lying if I said Loving Annabelle hit the same way it did when I was 21, because this time around, I did a lot more yelling at the screen. Things like, Simone, what are you doing? And Simone, she's a child. But say what you will about Loving Annabelle, it was still way tamer than Olivia. That is it for the video. I want to give a quick shout out to my newest patrons, Dior and D. I also just dropped a review of Bottoms over on my Patreon if you're interested. I also have a spooky second channel called Evelyn's Take for all you horror aficionados out there. The link is in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to let me know your thoughts about Loving Annabelle, and I'll see you in the next one.